Am I the a-hole for encouraging my mom not to take care of my dad's affair child if she did not want to? My dad cheated on mom for years. During his affair he let me down many times too. He'd plan stuff with me, and if his affair partner was in town or available, he'd drop me without a word. So when the truth came out I was pissed as hell with him. My younger sister was more forgiving and continued to have a relationship with him. The affair was revealed because she was pregnant. She lost that baby. They ended up getting married and 2 years ago had a child together who I never met. A few months ago they both died in a car crash that claimed 5 people's lives. A social worker contacted me and my sister to see if one of us would take her in. We were left until last because they wanted older bio relatives first, but none of them wanted her. My sister asked if we could raise her together. I said I was not getting involved and told the social worker I would not raise her. My sister, who is only 19, stepped up. There were some things that needed to happen first. She dropped out of her college classes, she was working during the day and going to college at night, and she needed to move into a 2-bedroom place instead of the 1-bedroom she was in. She also needed to get some background check done. But she passed. She has the child. Now she's having a hard time with child care. She knew I wouldn't say yes, so she asked our mom. Begged our mom. She told mom if she loves her, she'll help her and she'll start opening her heart up to her little sister who is part of her girls even if she hates our dad still. My sister laid on a guilt trip to her. Mom said she needed to think. So she called me, told me she didn't want to do it, that she hates the thought of having that child in her home and caring for her. But she knows it will ruin her relationship with my sister if she doesn't. I told her she shouldn't do it. That she would not be a good fit for one, but she would also be miserable, and while my sister might not hate her, she could end up resenting them both. She agreed with me and told my sister she would not watch her. My sister called and asked if I had anything to do with it. I played dumb and said I didn't know what she meant. She said she knew that was a lie because mom was so close to doing the right thing and suddenly she's firmly no. She called me a cunt, a bitch, said I was heartless, that one day she'll tell our little sister everything and will make me face up to my rejection of her and my lack of care for her. I told her I owe the child nothing and I would not apologize for telling mom to do what she wants. My sister then said I was cold-hearted and cruel and I don't seem to care about her either. I told her I cannot pretend to give a fuck about the child dad created with his affair partner and that she would rather me stay away. She said it didn't mean I needed to push mom to refuse to help her either. That I was still an ass for that. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for not being an active grandparent? I, am 47, have a son Jake, am 26, who has his own son Mike, am 5. Jake's mother and I only had a short-term relationship and it was an accidental pregnancy. To be blunt, I never wanted to be a parent, particularly not at 21. However, Jake's mother did and it wasn't my decision. Although we have always kept the peace, things have always been icy between us due to that. However, I always tried to do right by Jake. I would have him every other weekend and for a month during the summer, would do my best to deliver on anything he asked of me, treated him kindly and tried to be a good father. Then at a certain point, his mother married a guy Jake hated and I had him move in with me once he was 13. I won't lie, I wasn't cut out to be a parent. I love Jake, but I just hated parenting. I did it anyway since he was my son. We have a very good relationship, and I've never shirked any responsibility to him. Jake also became a father at 21. However, he was all for it and is happily married to Mike's mother. I also got him into my electrician's union and had him set up on some good jobs. So, he was on much better footing than I was for a child. Back then, we had a long talk and I told him, Jake, being a parent is a very different life. It is hard, exhausting, and on a day-to-day basis, you don't really get to do what you want to do very much. It will be a very long time before you don't have that kind of responsibility anymore. Then the conversation turned to how I'd help him. I told him no. I am retired from parenting. I am turning back to my own life. He has his own home, union job, is engaged, and adult enough to decide to have a baby. He's the adult now. He's the parent. I'll be around and if there are any emergencies, obviously I'll do what I can. But I won't be an active grandparent. I've largely held to it. I have been doing a lot of travel, I have a GF, hobbies, and to be blunt, I'm doing all the things I didn't get to do in my 20s. Do I see Jake and his family? Yes. However, I rarely agree to babysit. Jake resents that I don't go to Mike's games, they tend to conflict with my weightlifting club, and that I'm pretty hands-off with Mike. Things came to a head last week when Mike had a baseball tournament and I refused to go because I had plans to take a scuba class with my GF, which admittedly could be rescheduled. I didn't tell Jake this, but I spent so many Saturdays bored out of my skull watching Little League when Jake was little. I always cheered loudly, was crazy supportive and never let on that it was like watching paint dry. But this is no longer my responsibility. So I told him, Jake, I spent 20 years parenting. That's enough. He then yelled at me that I am always jetting around, playing like a teenager and not putting him first. I told him that no, I wasn't. I did that for 20 years to get him on his feet as an adult. I've done that and can go back to prioritizing my own life. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for giving future mother-in-law 3 days to pay me for a new wedding dress or else I show the family a photo of her wearing it? So, I'm getting married to my fiancé soon. I bought my wedding dress weeks ago. My FMIL kept pestering me about trying it on, but I firmly refused. I finally shut it down after she offered me $100 to let her try it on. Her reasoning for persisting so much? She says it's because of her love for wedding dresses and her obsession with them. Fast forward to yesterday, I came home from work early and I found my fiancé at home. He freaked out after seeing me and tried to prevent me from going into my room while trying to text somebody on his phone. I opened the door and was shocked to see his mom standing there wearing my dress. I instantly pulled out my phone and took a photo of her in it. She and my fiancé freaked out after I told her that she needed to pay me for a new dress in 3 days or else I'll show the whole family the photo. She started crying and then left, and my fiancé blew up at me saying I can't be serious and that I overreacted because his mom just wanted to try the dress on, no harm done. But I refused to listen to him because in my opinion, the dress should only be worn by the bride and the bride only. Quite frankly, I felt disgusted looking at the dress again. I don't want it anymore. And so I think it's fair that she pays me after she ruined it for me. He yelled at me and told me to wake up and stop treating his mom like that as if she was an enemy. We had a fight after he failed to get me to back down and he's been staying with his mom since then. I felt awful, but I spent $3,000 on this dress and worked hard to get it. I can't stand looking at it, but people in my family think I'm escalating things and risking my relationship with not only future mother-in-law, but my fiancé as well. Am I the a-hole? Update: oh my god. This blew up, and so I thought I'd add some updates. My fiancé called and offered to pay for the dress himself so we can end the conflict, but he wants me to hand him my phone so he can delete the photo himself. Swear that I don't have any copies to use against his mom later. Apologize to his mom. And lastly, he asked that I quit his family group chat and log out of Facebook for at least a month. I haven't responded yet. P.S. He called with this offer/conditions hours ago, but I didn't want to include this in the post, but now I did. Also, I'm not sure if I'll agree because I don't want him to pay for it. I want his mom, the one who wore it, to pay for it. Not being vicious but trying to hold her accountable. Am I the a-hole for saying again? After my sister announced that she's pregnant with twins? My 21F sister, 32F, has been married to her husband 33M for 8 years. They already have 6 kids total, the last one born 5 months ago. Yesterday, my sister had announced that she's 3 months pregnant with twins, and while everyone was congratulating her, I said out loud, "Oh my god, again? Can't your stupid husband leave you alone?" I didn't mean to say it out loud, but it slipped out, and my sister looked at me angrily and literally dragged me into another room and asked, "Why the F did you say that?" I told her that she and her husband have been pregnant every year for the last 8 years and that she needs to take a break. I was worried about her having so many babies in such a short time and I didn't want anything bad happening to her. She then said, "How about you leave us alone and worry about your own shit? This is my life, so FCK off." My mother told me that I should apologize for being rude, but I told her that I won't apologize for showing concern. But now I just can't help thinking that maybe I was being an asshole and sticking my nose into other people's business. I was just worried, but maybe I was being a jerk. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Yes, I do babysit my sister's kids sometimes, and all 6 of them at the same time whenever they need me to and if I'm available. They pay me $30, $50/hour, but their kids are pretty destructive and they don't respect other adults like they're supposed to, so it's a full chore watching after them. I'm aware that the stupid husband comment was inappropriate, but I have almost no filter and my stupid mouth says shit before my brain can stop it. And I've seen some comments talk about the ages and assuming my sister is 21? I'm 21F, my sister is 32F, and her husband is 33M. Update. I apologized to my sister for insulting her husband and making that rude comment, but I told her that I'm still worried about her having so many kids back to back and that just concerned in general about her health and well-being. She actually forgave me, and she said it's because 1. I'm her youngest sister, too. She knows about my problem with keeping my thoughts to myself and that I'm working on myself. And 3. She knows that I am concerned for her and she appreciates it, but she has assured me that she's fine and said that this pregnancy wasn't planned and her husband plans on getting a vasectomy because they both want this pregnancy to be the last. For those asking in the comments, she and her husband can afford to have kids. He runs a very successful business and she is still co-partner with her best friend in a company that they both started before she got married. How she manages to juggle being a full-time mom and work here and there is beyond me, but she does. That's why I babysit sometimes when the nanny isn't available 24/7. Her husband was the one who initially wanted a big family and my sister just went along with the idea. But that's their business.